So the irony of the last discussion was that someone commented near the end, Dr. Bean, you are right. There is snake venom in the vaccine, in the SARS-CoV-2. So I hope everyone is doing good, and um, we are here. Tell me, what would you like to do? Should we look at the numbers? Paul, we need you to do the numbers. So let's have a time. It's my bad that I did not set up a time. So, United States. There is a tiny bit of a uptick. So it was downtrending and was 31,000, 30,000. So before even the numbers, do these numbers even mean anything anymore? Are we really counting them? Let's see if the hospitalization is a better. So here, hospitalizations, if you see, this is the April, we start from January. So December, January, we had a peak here where in February 3, United States, 112,000. I believe this is number of COVID-19 patients in hospital. So total number in hospital on that date. And then in March, on March 23, it reduced. US went down from 93,000 or even 153,000 on January 18 to 15,000 total. And I think there is a slight, no, there is still a fall. So hospitalization numbers, at least for US, have still fallen. That's very interesting. So before I go to any other country, what do you want to see? France, UK. UK's hospitalization is actually similar number as they had in January. So they have a second peak of hospitalization. Italy lower, United States quite low, Canada slight uptick, Spain we'll see, Belgium will see, Netherlands down, Israel down. So that is the hospitalizations. How about the mortality? So this is mortality. So there seems to be a peak somewhere over here. This is February 11, and this is 7-day rolling average for mortality. United States on Feb 11, 7.19, then France, then UK, and then United States is now 1.52. It went down from 7.65 to 1.52. So everything is down. Mortality is down, hospitalization is down. So it's not just that the numbers are down. Canada has slight uptick here. India downwards, United States downwards, Canada has an uptick, France has a tiny bit, it's kind of stable. Germany is sort of going up and down. Maybe it's reporting. UK's death rate has actually gone up to the numbers as in January. So the UK has an uptick in hospitalization and death both. So is US going to follow that pattern later on? I hope not. So Texas says US changed the definition of hospitalization. Yeah, that's the easiest to do. So Dr. Ardis is a PhD in chiropractic, and he has, I think he has his own. There are supplements too. Let's look at New York. Robin says New York. So let's see. COVID cases in New York. Okay, so, oh man, these were new cases were 79,777 or daily average of 74,000 on January 9. And what do we have now? 5,467 on April 14. So down from 73 to 5,000. Yes, compared to, for example, March 9, when it was 1783, we have 5,467. So triple, almost triple. So yes, let's look at the hospitalization. Hospitalization is 18% 14-day change. And how about deaths? So hospitalization is a little up. Yes, that is correct, Robin. Deaths data reduced. So deaths are 3% down. Hospitalization in New York 18% up. ICU 4% up. Cases 73% up. So that's the data. This is actually a good topic, Ashley. I would look into that as well. I saw you comment on the last one too about amyloidosis. So I'll check it out. Generally, anywhere where there is persistent inflammation, there is a possibility of amyloidosis there. Tracy says, have you, I think it is XE, and yes, I have discussed XE. I still remember discussing it because I made those two big tooth of XE. It is a combination of BA1 and BA2. It is a little more transmissible, but it was not known to be more lethal. We'll see now with hospitalization and death if that is the case. That is correct as well, Janet. Wastewater. So let's see. So folks are talking about Dr. Brian Ardis's supplements. Is I think YAN. There's a disciplinary action report. Then there is the Dr. Ardis show here. The Dr. Ardis show. Shop. Looking for the whole armor of immunity kit. Dr. Ardis DC presents on Daystar. Please help to support the effort. So free advertisement for Dr. Ardis. Of course, water filters are going to be very important. Alicia, I am actually not congested. My throat is still scratchy. And I have been, so this Dr. Ardis's or Brian's study, or not study, hypothesis. Since the morning, I've been collecting data, discussing it with colleagues, and my voice has almost gone hoarse. My voice is a little hoarse now. The one that runs around. And BA4. Yes, so now we have more BA5. Thank you. Yep. So we did have XD and XF before, but these were mostly on the European side. But maybe they've come here too. Okay, so Ashley, I may need a couple of more reminders, but I'll talk about it. DDS, yes, that is correct. The tiny duck mouse is here. Where is Doug? So Janet, they have not been more bad so far. We'll see as the time passes, but so far, Elizabeth John says, stop reporting COVID, and poof, it's gone. Yes. So Ashley, won't the virus continue to mutate forever? Yes, it was mutating forever and it will continue to mutate. The thing that you're seeing is that it is becoming more and more aligned with humans. We'll see, it is doing some bumps, but compared to where it was, it is much more friendly now. And it will continue to become that way. There is no other way. Either will be eliminated or this will be eliminated. And I think the best is it will become a friend. So, yes. So, John, I have, including my family members, that they are recovering. The question is the protocol and how it is used. So please look into the iRecover. I had worked with FLCCC to kind of realign it a little bit, so that would help. So Texas, I actually had the pad mouse as well, but that for 2 years continuously pressing and drawing, my this finger now has continuous arthritis. It just aches. So it is good that I have this other mouse. I know it kind of makes a noise. Here is Doug. Hello, Doug. How are you? So we have the mouse still over here. Meanwhile, in America, says, "Hi, Dr. Bean. Can COVID contribute to overall neural fatigue? Sometimes I feel like my body is tired, but brain is okay. It's a weird sensation." Yes. So the body tired, brain okay is when the muscle and muscular junctions, they have a problem. And then when the whole body and the brain is tired, that is when there is fatigue with the neurological tissues as well. Doug, for you, tiny duck, mouse. So, Ashley, I did a series called EBV reactivation. There are 4 lectures I did that are on the YouTube channel. One is what is infectious mononucleosis, the other one is serology, then third one is the prevalence, and fourth is the mechanism of reactivation of EBV because of SARS-CoV-2. Yes, I've done it. Understood. And again, this is his business, so more power to him. So Margaret says, when singers are losing voice and choose to perform, it often involves IM prednisone and IV medicine. Thank you for the. So I'm a little hesitant with the steroid at this time because I think in the first place the steroid inhalers kind of got me stuck on this in this state. But I may have to take them, Margaret. Leonard says, question, no remedies for your arthritis. So physiotherapy, and I just don't do good physiotherapy. But it is done. I have kind of, I was not nice to my this finger. I used to use it because it will not make sound, but the pressure continuously, imagine from 12 o'clock to 8 or 9 in the evening, every day for 2 years, just drawing, and that just caused a lot of. It is much better now. It's like 80% better. I have not, Robin, vulvar if aphthous ulcer. I have not, but I will not be surprised if it is there. So, Journal of Pediatric Adolescent Gynecology. Okay, I'll check it out. Can you please send it to me on Discord? So I saw somebody said, thank you for the drawing class yesterday. So appreciated your tips, tricks, and way of explaining. So patient and funny. Thank you very much. Although it only had 400 views. So art is not very popular. Learner, no, I have not. I will. So in my talk as well, John, I misplaced my decimal as well. So I said 2.7% of the UK population of 6.29 million instead of 62.9 million. There were some folks very upset about that. So she does have a cure. She told me not to fast today because her cure was working. And then I fasted again. Hey, Nipa, how are you? Thank you very much, Barbara and Lotus. I would. I wanted to have a fast today, and I guess I was not fully recovered. Paul says, great artists didn't sell any paintings in their entire lifetime. So you have good company. Fine, Paul. Yes, Luffy. Luffy is killing me slowly with his dander and hair. He would not sleep anywhere other than near me, and it's all his fault. Meanwhile, in America says, when you say muscle junction issue for neural fatigue, do you mean inflammation in the joints? Okay, so let me explain. So we actually kind of saw that in this discussion today, that some of these neuromuscular junction issues can prop up with phospholipases or other inflammatory markers or even autoantibodies as well. So what is the basic problem? What happens is, so let's see it this way. First, let's say this is a brain. And then from the brain, let's say this is the motor area. That is from where this brain looks happy. Let's give it a hand. And yay. Okay, so this is the motor area, right? From this motor area, a motor neuron would go down to the spinal cord. Then it would stop in the spinal cord. From there, a second neuron, or sometimes a small second one and then a third one, will go to the actual muscle. So let's say this is a muscle with multiple muscle fibers, right? A muscle is really a bunch of tubules, tiny microscopic long threads that can contract. On the muscle, where this nerve will end, over there is a specialized area which has receptors. For example, let's say for acetylcholine. Now the muscles end, or sorry, nerves ending would release acetylcholine, and then it would work on this neuromuscular plate on the junction on the acetylcholine receptors, and the result is that muscle would contract or even relax. So how can it relax? Our muscles are not used to getting one impulse which just contracts them fully. Meaning, if you look at my hand or my arms, this is not the case that the muscle would just totally either contract or relax. We can have varying level of tone in a muscle. And that is created by continuous firing of the impulses from the brain. And then the firing can increase to increase the tone, or firing can reduce to reduce the tone. So muscles are, and this whole system is kind of an analog machine, electrical system. The times when brain is active or doesn't feel tired, while the muscles are not cooperating, which, for example, to me it happened. My first Omicron exposure about a month or 2 months ago, what I felt strange was I woke up at night, had to go to the restroom, and I was able to move faster. I was leaning faster, but my legs were not walking faster. I would never forget that feeling. I said, man, I cannot even walk anymore. Have I become so old? So my expectation, my brain was fine and it was thinking that I can go faster, but my body was not moving. So there can be many reasons for this. And a good musculoskeletal doctor, neurologist, they have to work together to figure it out. But some possible mechanisms are mostly focused here. So let's say that these receptors are blocked, or there is a presence of some antibodies there. And so there are not sufficient number of receptors available for acetylcholine to work. That is one possibility. The second possibility is that the acetylcholine is not released in good quantities. Third possibility is that there is inflammatory markers that are damaging this neuromuscular junction itself. There are markers that are damaging the nerve itself, or inflammatory molecules. There can even be antibody attack over here, which would then cause local inflammation and cause the firing and the function of this neuromuscular junction to become bad. And that would cause, now for one muscle, there are actually thousands and millions of junctions in a muscle. And there are many branches of the nerve that are going to various parts and are kind of contracting the muscle. So it is possible that some contraction is there, but not what we expected. And what does that mean? What we expected and what is not happening. What happens is when we are going to move, our frontal cortex, this area, the frontal cortex is the personality area. Is the fast done? Thank you very much. Okay, so personality area, you decide to move, right? So I'm talking about voluntary movement. The involuntary movement is happening all the time. Our GIT is moving, our heart is moving, our eyes are working. For voluntary movement, the personality area would say, I want to move. I want to do something. For example, right now, I want to speak and I want to draw. So that message will be sent to a central part over here, the basal ganglia. And we would say to the basal ganglia that, hey, I want to move my hand. I want to draw this circle. Tell me, how would I draw it? And we will provide the intention. How fast do we want to do it? How hard we want to do it? And so on. That intent is translated between basal ganglia and the cerebellum. These two areas talk with each other and they decide what should be the tone of the muscle, how many muscle fibers should contract, with how much velocity they should contract, and with how much strength they should contract. Based on that, a plan will be sent back to the motor area and say, please execute this plan. Motor area is actually dumb. It just would execute whatever plan is given to it. So once it gets that plan, which has been discussed between basal ganglia and cerebellum and refined and matched to your intent. For example, if you're playing a game, these two guys, they have to decide how to match your intention. You want to run fast and reach there and then strike the ball hard. That intention has to be matched. So that plan is presented to the motor cortex. Then motor cortex sends the plan and gets it executed. Very simple. It's a beautiful, complex system. So when you are not able to observe your body to do what you are thinking it should do, that means that your motor areas, your brain areas are actually functioning and expecting and probably sending the messages down, but the muscle neuromuscular junction or the amount of acetylcholine released or the amount of muscle response may not be correct. So now what is really involved? Is it the nerve that is not conducting correctly? Is it the gating within the spinal cord? Is it the neuromuscular junction not releasing acetylcholine in the right quantity? Is it the receptors that are blocked by the antibodies or local inflammatory cells are present and inflammation has happened? Is it the correct number of muscle fibers are not recruited? Is it the muscle not able to contract even when the order is there because the muscle itself is damaged or inflamed or doesn't have enough nutrition? That is what one cannot predict here. That is where the doctors have to come in, do the labs, do the check, do the physical, and figure out what's going on. So if you don't mind, just give me one quick second. It is time to break fast. So meanwhile, in America says that's exactly what's happening. Nerve is coming back healthy, which is a good thing. Nerve coming back healthy. And please forgive me, I'm going to take a lozenge as well to clear my throat a little bit. So my apologies for speaking with the lozenge in my mouth. So the uh, nerve is coming back healthy. So that's a good thing that there is no neural tissue damage. So what they would need to look at is the following. If the nerve signals are fine, they would have to look here and the muscles to see what's happening to the muscle responses. And this could be autoimmune. This could be immune system antibodies present in these areas interfering with the signal transduction. Transduction is when the signal of one type is converted into another. So here we have an electrical signal that is going to become a chemical signal, then it would become a mechanical signal. So that is all transduction happening. So somewhere in the transduction there is a loss of communication, or everything is fine, even the muscle is receiving the message correctly, but muscle fiber, the muscle itself either doesn't have enough nutrition or maybe is inflamed and is not responding correctly. Don't know. This is something that they would continue to have to figure out. So Lernan says, this is a difficult question. So here is why it is difficult. There is no one vaccine for everyone. Women under 50, no adenovirus based vaccine. They can take messenger RNA. Men under 30, no messenger RNA vaccine. They might want to take adenovirus, which are really not useful. Maybe youngsters do not need the vaccine. Older individuals, and I am in that as well. So I'm not doing ageism, I'm just talking about older age, advanced age. Any vaccine will work, but I like Novavax, messenger RNA, and then adenovirus. That's my ranking. You're very welcome. Thank you. So, John, I am one example of this. So, I think that my COVID created allergies or unmasked allergies. I never was allergic. Or if I was, then I was just very subtle. And now you can see I go out for a walk and I come back coughing. I go out in a car for something and I come back coughing. It's just my allergies. For the first time ever in my life, now I say I have allergies. And I believe it has been since the long COVID. Now, I'm sure that vaccines may be doing that too. So, do they not have mRNA vaccine? Is Skyfrog here? Skyfrog is here. Yes, Skyfrog. DDS says, I wonder what Dr. Bean discusses around the dinner table. Nobody likes to discuss medicine with me. So when they are sitting together and wondering, oh man, this person said this. And I said, I just talked about it. I told you guys to watch it. Nobody watches. Thank you. Thank you. This is a good question. So before pandemic, I just never cared much. Then during the pandemic, we all had to try to figure out how do we protect ourselves. So I usually take one that multivitamin tablet which has majority of things. In addition, I take vitamin D, curcumin, vitamin E, C, black seed oil, or Nigella sativa, fish oil. These are the most with calcium K2. Yeah, be careful. This is not a advice for anyone. Texas says both my kids with CD. I made it laughing, Alicia. Social disease via typo. Thank you very much. Meanwhile, in America, Robin says olive and walnut trees in California are spreading massive pollen this year, and they are horrible allergens. They are. I used to. I mean, my family member used to get allergies, and I used to cruise through this time, and now I am stuck, and they are cruising through the time. How the tables are turned. So I won't suggest anything, Igor. I have been taking 10,000. Now I take 5,000 or so. Best is to look at your exposure to sunlight, your diet, your levels, and then decide what else, how much more do you need. The levels somewhere above 30 or 40, above 40 are actually good. Sandy says, what could be going on with children getting liver disease? Something like hepatitis, very disturbing. Sandy, without looking at the situation or cases, I can't say. This is a cute brain. Nipa says, uh, haldi curcumin alone is not effective. You have to add black pepper. Yes. So whenever my wife gets a chance, I get black pepper as well. Leonard says, I've had sun allergy. Fair enough. So VV says that would an antihistamine if COVID positive be wise? I always think it is very important to have antihistamines during COVID. So KB Usenet says, do you know if black seed oil works with heart meds? I am not sure, but we in our society and culture, everyone, regardless of what their condition is, they take it. The reason is, and forgive me for the religious reference, we have a reference that Prophet Muhammad had said that in the black seed oil there is cure for everything except death. So many folks over there have this culture of using it. I am not that particular, but whenever I become nervous, I use it. So I hope that answers your question somewhat. I don't have studies for this. Ashley says, I've read a few places now that the spike protein can accumulate heavily in the ovaries. Is that true? And if so, why do you think so heavy there specifically? So It's actually not the spike protein, it's the lipid nanoparticles part. And I have done that discussion in detail. Lipid nanoparticles parts can go anywhere in the body. They're lipids, and they would be broken down by whatever tissue picks them up. Most of this biodistribution that you're talking about, for example, let's say, so now it is my drawing time. So let's say this is a person, and a person, woman, man. When you inject something in them, there is a concept of biodistribution. And the biodistribution means we look at that substance. Where does it go? How much and at what time? Every drug have a biodistribution study in which they say, okay, the drug was taken orally or was injected through the muscle, and then 90% stayed here and died, and then the 10% went here, here, and here. And this distribution depends upon the circulation amount, the volume of circulation to various parts of the tissue or various parts of the body. For example, heart has circulation all the time. Kidney have a huge amount of circulation going through it all the time. There are certain parts of our body that do not get that much of circulation. So whatever are more circulated, number one. Number two, the substance that is given, how readily can that cross the barriers and come out to the blood vessel and go to the tissue, and how much that tissue's affinity is for that. So that would also matter. Then the route of injection would matter. Then the getting out of the tissue would matter. Then the tissue's own enzymes and state and environment, that would matter. So all of those things collectively describe biodistribution for every drug. It's not that, let's say, all drugs would go to ovary more. There are some drugs that would go to that place more because of their chemical structure and the things I mentioned. There are some drugs that would go somewhere else more. And we actually we make drugs in a way to say, I want this drug to biodistribute in this area more, and how can I do that? So that's what happens. But spike, I have not heard. Lipid nanoparticle, yes. Yeah, so Iggy Pop says, why aren't more US doctors calling the FDA out for its Novavax EU Slovak? That's just so disappointing that they're doing that. You're very welcome, Ashley. Critical Thought said, didn't you cover the D-level study? Yes. So 50 nanogram is good as well. Greater than 40, I did one more study as well from Iran that showed greater than 40 was very protective. So if it is more than 50, that is fine too. I usually avoid to go this aggressive, to go 80, 90, 100, but 40, 50 is fine. The important point is the normal range is supposed to be 29 or something. I think it has to be higher than that. So Michael says, I think regarding lipids, this is based on Japanese study of lipid distribution using lipids, but didn't actually rule out spikes also in ovaries. No, so that I'm talking about the same. That was not a study, was a biodistribution observation. Yes, we're talking about that. And no, they did not talk about spike. Although many theorists, conspiracy theorists, made it as if it was spike protein circulation. It was lipid nanoparticle, and not even that particle whole, part of the particle. I did 2 talks about it. I got quite a lot of heat, just like I suspect With me saying that this is not snake venom, I'm going to get some more heat. This was the kind of intensity I'm expecting there will be intensity. That was the intensity then. DDS says completely off topic. My pilot friend once had to confront a passenger who was breastfeeding a kitten. Why did they have to confront them? So, can this be address an issue or mistake? Yeah, sure. Tell me what mistake. So it is 8 o'clock. Should we? Okay, so that is why they stopped. They should have actually then allowed people to see kitten getting breastfed. Skyfrog says it's as a pilot, it's easy to control passenger when you fly inverted. Can't do much hanging from the seat belts. That's funny. So Vinod says, do you advise laymen to equip themselves with measurable basic medical knowledge as a basic necessity going forward in the back? So the reason why, so short answer, yes. Long answer. Reason why I quit my jobs and made Dr. Bean was that I believed we have reached a point where a nurse can read up, look at practices, and almost be like a doctor. And similarly, someone who's not a nurse should be educated enough with medical knowledge to be able to understand immunology and physiology and make some pathology to make things work. So let's say for the top 10 diseases, they should totally be aware for how do these work. And I thought that from fifth class or eighth grade, the students should start learning medicine, not because they want to go in medicine, but just because they study math or bio or physics. That was my intention. That was my vision. And that is why I made Dr. Bean to start making this happen. This is why my teaching is also more drawing and cartoons to kind of make it easy for all of us to kind of grasp the concept fast. So yes, big yes, that is my mission. Pandemic has actually highlighted it even more. Imagine all of us should now know how to read a study. I was actually surprised by looking at the study today where the authors very conveniently totally removed the idea that these products, these molecules are normally produced in inflammatory and infection state as well. They just went right to the venom. And if we do not have the wherewithal to understand how to understand the studies and their gaps, even then, I mean, look, I still fall for some of those studies. A few days ago, I had to take my video and delete it. But yes, Margaret says best response of the night. So with this, Vinod says thank you. I understand the value of your offering. Thank you very much. You're very welcome. Cool. So remember the 70 picogram per milliliter spike figure in acute COVID patient from the spike protein gets in the blood? Yes. So the 70 picogram per milliliter is the limit of detection of the Samoa test and not the actual number of spike. Okay, got it. Thank you very much for this. Is Luffy afraid of the Easter Bunny? I don't know. We'll have to find out. He is the brat. He's not afraid of anything. Melamorph, we should write a book. Absolutely. So that brings me to the next point, which I've been thinking of discussing. I was thinking to do a live talk with the main channel and this channel, that I think it is time we get back to writing that book, and I would need some support. And so I have the team members. The monthly budget is going to be about 3,000. I'm going to start pitching in and start doing it. But if anybody can help write the Substack articles, which would become the basis of the book. So from videos to the articles, and they will become then books. Then you are very welcome for that. I think I'll start a GoFundMe and see if there are folks who are willing to help me produce these books as well and this education. I am doing it anyways, meaning it's not that I'm stopped, but if anyone wants to join hands, that would be great. So with this, we have 8:09. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend. Let's plan two things next week. Number one, we'll have Paul. And number two, let's have a Zoom call. So Paul says, I will help. Thank you very much, Paul. Every time I want to say bye, I look at some comment from Sky Frog and I get engaged again. First line of the book: once upon a time I was next to a burning. Yes. And I did not know who did that. Excellent. Scott says crowdsourcing is a great idea, so we'll do that. Correct. So bone density, usually impact on the bone helps bone take on more calcium and increase the density. So with this, thank you very much. You too, Skyfrog, and everyone. Have a nice weekend as well. 4 links in the description. If you would like to buy DrBeen, there is a link with the most inexpensive price ever you've seen. And then there are links to buy me a coffee or use PayPal to support this work or to become a patron. Thank you very much. And I would see you on Monday.